So your cat is missing. I have a lot of free videos and free help available to help you in your situation. First, it's imperative that you understand exactly what type of missing cat case it is with which you're dealing. If you misunderstand the type of case that you have, you'll be doing all the wrong things and you'll be looking in all the wrong places. So it's crucial that you take a moment and understand exactly what type of case it is that you have. And before I go into those categories, there's a couple of concepts that you should take a moment to understand, and then you'll be able to understand the categories better. It'll be difficult if you don't understand these concepts. First, your cat is a wild animal. I know they're referred to as domestic cats, but they're actually wild. Even if your cat has lived indoors with you your cat's whole life, your cat is still wild. It's not like your dog. Your dog really is domesticated. Your cat is not. Ever since cats started living with humans, there's been no change. They've gotten a whole lot smarter. That's one change. But other than that, there's been no change. They're still just as wild as ever. Now, if you take a look in suburbia, you see a whole lot of connected backyards. This comprises the ecosystem. Now, especially at night, the ecosystem is not unlike the Serengeti. Okay, so you should understand that your cat isn't just outside of your house. Your cat is in the ecosystem. See, when your dog's outside of your house, your dog's just frolicking around the front yard or whatever. When your cat is outside, he or she is interacting with all sorts of other animals and going to places that humans can't reach. Okay, it's fascinating, but the ecosystem can be dangerous. The next concept that you need to understand is territory. The missing cat categories are all very, very different, but what unifies them all is territory, the concept of territory. Okay, your missing cat is making anguished decisions based upon his or her relationship with his or her territory. Generally, a missing cat has gone extraterritorial, or ET for short. And the last concept that you should grasp is the state of mind, which I call the runaway. This is when a cat consciously decides to abandon his or her territory. Okay, so those four concepts. That's what you need to understand, to isolate what kind of missing cat case it is that you have. So to begin, I'll be talking about the categories that apply to full-grown and able-bodied cats. Okay, after that I'll talk about missing kittens and medical cases that comprises missing old, injured, and sick cats. Okay, so now briefly I want to talk about coyotes. Okay, and full-grown and able-bodied cats, the relationship between them. Generally, such cats are safe from suburban coyotes. Okay, they're not safe from coyote packs off of a natural habitat, definitely. So, unless you're near a natural habitat, coyotes are not a factor with full-grown and able-bodied cats. Okay, no matter what you hear on the internet. Okay, generally. And there's videos on that if you want more info. Now, so for full-grown and able-bodied cats, the first category that I want to talk about is indoor-only cats. This is the only category that has absolutely been reduced down to a science. So these are cats that have always been inside with humans. They don't, for example, ever go outside into the backyard or worse, jump the fence into the neighbor's yard, that sort of thing. It's permissible if you put them in a carrier, when you take them to the vet. But otherwise they're always and have always been indoors. So you have an indoor-only case there. By the definition, your missing cat is ET as soon as they get outside. Watch the corresponding instruction video, and I do have a word of caution. It very rarely happens, but it is possible to have a missing indoor-only cat who is a runaway. Now, a cat will take a lot of abuse before this happens, but in particular, if food is denied or curtailed for a long enough time for them to lose a significant amount of weight, they will become a runaway. If you've altered your cat's diet in such a way that their weight has gone down, which you should never do, as you'd be learning firsthand right now if you've done that, then you should also watch the documentary, If Only Cats Could Talk, where I'm featured, tracking down a cat in just such a case. They're rare cases, but they're very dramatic. So, and especially watch my response video to that movie. And but as I mentioned, it's extremely rare that you ever have a runaway. You don't have that, almost certainly. Instead, what you have is what I call a chain of doom case, and where your cat is attempting to adapt to the ecosystem. That's common and may require some significant effort on your part, but the odds are well in your favor. If it's just happened, your cat got outside, your odds are well in your favor that you'll find your cat. The next category is what is sometimes elegantly called an outdoor cat case. A better term that is sometimes used is outdoor access. Both of these are bad terms, putting you into an inappropriate mindset like you're after a lost dog or something. The much better term for this is an ecosystem cat. An ecosystem cat has complete shelter whenever he or she wants it, just like the varmints in the ecosystem. They're only outside when they need to be or want to be. So they're not really outdoor cats anyway. So that's why, it's a bad term. So even if your cat does come inside for a good amount of time every day, if they go off for hours, to areas outside of your yard, they are an ecosystem cat whose territory is in the ecosystem and also in your house at times. If they're missing, watch the corresponding ecosystem cat video. Now, the next category is what I call a spooker case. This is a surprisingly common type of case. So here's what happens. Someone has a cat that maybe is indoors a lot of the time, but the cat likes to be let outside, but always stays right on the porch. Maybe this goes on for years. This is a full-grown able-bodied cat, by the way. Maybe the cat only stays out there for 5 minutes. Maybe it's a couple of hours. But you can always count on the cat being right there on that porch when they're outside of the house. This is how the cat's whole life has been. Maybe the cat was once an indoor-only cat, but is now let outside on the porch. The cat never leaves the porch, until he or she wants to, come back inside. Then one day, the cat is on the porch, just like it's gone on for years, and then a short time later, the cat isn't there. The cat goes ET. What happened? A variation of this case is when the cat goes into a small backyard, but never leaves, and then is suddenly gone. Watch the corresponding Spooker video. The traveling or transported cat category. So let's say that you put your cat in a carrier and you take him to the vet. When you take the carrier out of the car, it malfunctions and your cat darts off. By definition, your cat is ET. Now, and by the way, if it's an activated LED collar, you put it on your cat before this happens, for a traveling cat like this, that would quickly solve this if you did that, with LEDs, Now, this sort of a case, fortunately doesn't happen very often. Interestingly, it boils down to what would otherwise be an unethical experiment. See, because you get all kinds of cats being transported to the vet, including like indoor-only cats and ecosystem cats. So, and it looks like they react the same way in this kind of case, at least initially they do. So in a case like this, the obvious thing that these two types of cats have in common is that they are both accidental ETs. And that's a strong indication that it's territory that unifies these categories. And there's a confusing type of case that I want to talk about. Sometimes people live or practically live in their RVs and take their indoor-only cats with them in their RVs. That creates an interesting situation where the cat's territory is a moving object, the RV. A cat that gets away from an RV like this is actually an indoor-only cat and not a traveling or transported cat. So watch the indoor-only video for a case like that with the RV. Otherwise, watch the corresponding video for on the traveling or transported category. So now let's move away from the full-grown and able-bodied cats and start with the kitten category. These lost kitten cases do tend to be tragic, I'm sorry to say. We have a lot of issues with kittens going into the ecosystem without being able to orient their position to and rely on the protection of their mothers. I crudely put the age of 1.5 years as being when a cat is full grown. So if your cat is missing and is younger than that, do watch the corresponding kitten video. And for the last category, medical cases. I've combined seriously ill, seriously injured, and seriously old cats. To be seriously old, I would put the cat's age at about 13 years old. If any of these states describe your missing cat, then watch the corresponding medical case video. So that concludes all of the categories. I do hope that it is at least fairly obvious into which category that your missing cat case falls. Watch the video that corresponds to that category for the latest advice on what to do. When you do find your cat, please be kind and give us the details so that we can add them to our understanding of these cases so that we can help others in the future. Thank you and good luck.